how do I negotiate buy-in from deans when we, the instructional design team, note their courses really need to be updated for better content delivery? The content is fine, but the delivery is aged and could be updated, but too often we're met with no, it's fine, quote unquote. So, Alicia, what I want you to do is to think about it from the dean's perspective. What are they really saying when they say it's fine? Because it's fine to me is basically saying that either they don't have the time or the resources or the budget, or they have something currently else going on, like in the background of a project that is just like weighing on their minds. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're really going to throw one more project on top of my to do list. There's no way that I can possibly supervise this and make sure that this is going to go into effect. And that to me is what it's fine really means. We're just trying to be able to say, no, not now. We'll revisit it later. But you, as the amazing instructional designer, says, but hey, we really need to do this and we need to think about it now and not later. So, what this dean or the deans really need to be able to hear is hard, credible data from both the students and the instructors, and not just from one perspective. In order to really sell this idea of saying that you really need to be able to go back and revise these, you're going to need both. And the reason being is because if the students are unhappy, let's say that like your entire student evaluation at the end of a term of the semester, you do something with a Likert scale of 1 through 5 for a student satisfaction survey, or something along those lines. And let's say that you're getting threes. You're like, all right, we're getting threes for a type of a general answer. I wonder what's going on. And then you can go and actually talk more with the instructors, whether by surveys or interviews or whatnot, and to try to be able to think about more with them of like, hey, we're hearing that the courses are kind of just okay. Do you have any ideas as far as what we can do to make this better? Is there anything that you were told no before, and now you want to be able to go and use your creativity and do something a bit different now that you have been teaching the course for a couple of terms or semesters? Any instructor is probably going to have ideas. I know that when I've taught courses for the first semester and then later on, and like even by the end of the first semester, I'm like, wow, I could have done something a lot differently if I had really known and had this feedback from students ahead of time. So I guarantee that they have ideas too. So now you're going to be able to have the student data and the instructor feedback, their data, and you can put them together. And then now is the appropriate time to do your sales pitch. And in this sales pitch, what you should be able to do is to one, address the problem by saying, hey, our courses really need to be revised. But then say, I've heard from both students and from faculty. I've been talking to both of them, doing some interviews, collecting some data that I wanted to be able to share with you because I was really curious to hear more about how we can actually just revise the courses and to make them better. And from speaking with these faculty, I actually was able to pinpoint precisely what modules or what assessments really do need the most amount of love and the most amount of help. And this is the idea of how we can go about with doing this and how we can make it a reality. And then at the end of all of that, you should be talking about the ROI, the return on investment for not just for your team and for the dean, but also talking about the students, the instructor, and overall the institution by talking about how you're going to be able to increase student satisfaction from the courses by going back to say like that Likert scale of the 1 through 5, you had a 3 for an average. Let's say that the new goal is that you want to be able to have at least a 3.5 or a 4 for going forwards for the next couple of months to be able to assess and evaluate, and then to go back and revise them again if need be. But that entire sales pitch of what you're trying to be able to say is that you've identified the problem, you have an idea for the solution, you were able to pinpoint exactly where the solution is going to take place, and most importantly, talking about the importance of everything of, well, why is this goal really going to be able to help us to do better for the students, the instructors, literally everybody else, and for our school in general. So, Alicia, that's what I would do if I were you, if I were in your shoes. I would be trying to be able to do all this data collection and everything else ahead of time, present to them the hard facts, the ideas, and then to hopefully have their blessing and their sign off to say, sounds great, go ahead and do the thing. The other thing on top of all of that, too, is that if you are talking with the dean, and let's say that they open up as far as you're talking about how much time that they don't have, that they're committing so much time to other projects, or perhaps it's a budget issue. If you're able to identify what the issue is, that is also going to really be able to help you out. Because if they're assuming, let's just say hypothetically, that they are assuming that everything for the review process is going to have to go back to them, well, does it have to go to that dean, or could it go to an associate dean or an assistant dean or somebody else ahead of time first, as far as for that first passage to be able to give the approval, say this looks great, hey, let's now go run it by this actual dean, and then they can say yay or nay and go from there. If you're able to kind of take a little bit off of their plate and to help them with the process to move things along, kind of the whole like, well, what's in it for me idea, that can really make things go a long way too. So if that does come up and you can identify that problem, that's going to really help out. If any of that long rambling does make sense about working with SMEs and you want to know more about my tips, I have an entire course about how to work with SMEs and everything that I've learned over the years. And that's over at EduFlow Academy. Our new cohort for the program, by the way, starts in February, and then we're going to have another one later on in March. So go down below, sign up for the next one, and I can't wait to see you there.